Just when we thought the truth had been uncovered in part one, everything changed. What came next would expose a deeper betrayal, a second player, and a confession that shattered everything we thought we knew. By early 2023, Willow Creek had stopped pretending. The flowers at the memorial garden were wilting. The flyers had faded. The whispers at Dixie's diner weren't about whether Emily was dead, but whether the full story had ever really come out. Because despite Tara Whitman's conviction, something still hung in the air, something unspoken. Detective Serena Jacks couldn't let it go. She stared at the access logs again and again, her desk littered with old case files, redacted emails, and archived security footage. A single question haunted her. Who unlocked the basement door that night? Then, something odd. The hospital's IT department had transitioned to a new system, and in the process, a retired employee returned briefly to assist. While combing through legacy backups, he flagged an old encrypted folder, one that hadn't shown up in the original audits. Its title? The folder had been created the night of Emily's disappearance, October 13th, 2019, and then hidden. Inside was only one file, a raw security log from a secondary network switch tied to the basement storage wing. It wasn't part of the hospital's main camera system. It had been jury-rigged as a backup after a previous break-in years ago. Serena's hands shook as she opened the file. It was a simple text log, just lines of code, timestamps, and motion trigger pings. Most of it was static, empty movement from air vents or cleaning staff earlier in the day. Until 11:48 p.m., a line appeared, motion detected. Receiving hall, 11:48 and 19 seconds p.m. Then another, motion detected. Emergency exit door, 11:49 and 2 seconds p.m. And then, door open, manual override, badge ID, 1342 beta. Badge ID 1342 beta was unfamiliar, not Tara's, not Emily's, not even the admin's. It had been issued under a temporary contractor account. The name associated, Avery Donnell, a name no one in Willow Creek recognized. Serena pulled up records. There was no Avery Donnell on payroll, no contractor listed, no driver's license registered in the state. But the badge had been created 3 weeks before Emily vanished and deactivated the day after. The address on file? A P.O. box in Butte, registered under a cleaning service that shut down 4 months later. Someone had created a fake identity to access that hospital, and whoever it was, they were there the exact minute Emily disappeared from camera view. Serena stared at the printout, heart thudding. This wasn't a solo act. Detective Serena Jacks drove to Butte the next morning, the hospital log folded tightly in her jacket pocket. She didn't trust emailing it, didn't trust uploading it to any server. Whatever this was, whoever Avery Donnell was, it wasn't just a technical glitch. It was planted. The P.O. box was real, but the building belonged to had long been abandoned, a rusted strip mall with cracked windows and a padlocked door. The cleaning company listed on the badge? No trace, not even in the state's business registry. But Serena wasn't ready to give up. She cross-referenced the address with property owners. It had changed hands 3 times in 5 years. The third name caught her attention. K. Myers Holdings, LLC. Myers. Logan Myers. Emily's ex-lover. The married firefighter who swore he had nothing to do with her disappearance. Her pulse quickened. Logan had always been a shadow in the case. Close, but just far enough outside the frame. His alibi was airtight. Time-stamped firehouse logs. Testimonies. Nothing ever pinned him. But this was proximity. Ownership. Money. She drove straight to Logan's last known address, though she'd been warned he'd left the state over a year ago. The house was empty. Windows dusty. The mailbox stuffed with unpaid notices. The neighbors hadn't seen him since February 2022. But one of them, a retired trucker named Bill, remembered something strange. He had a guy come by late one night. Bill said, squinting into the sun. Black SUV. Stayed in the driveway for over an hour. Logan looked nervous. Kept looking over his shoulder. After that night, he was gone. Serena filed a subpoena for Logan's financials. That's when it broke wide open. In October 2019, just days after Emily's disappearance, Logan received a one-time payment of $12,000 into a secondary checking account he never reported. The source? A shell company out of Portland. That company had ties to 3 different contractor IDs issued to hospitals across the state, and one of them created Avery Donnell's badge. Logan had lied. His alibi may have held, but his hands weren't clean. Serena's stomach turned. The puzzle pieces were snapping together, but they weren't forming the picture she expected. This wasn't just rage, or panic, or one woman covering her tracks. This was planned, funded, covered up. But for what? Why target Emily? Why go through so much trouble to erase her? That night, Serena sat alone in her apartment, replaying the USB clip again and again, the final seconds where Emily turned around, startled, just before the screen cut to black. There was no sound, no scream, just that flicker of fear on Emily's face. She froze the frame, zoomed in. The shadowed figure behind her wasn't wearing hospital gloves. They were holding something. Something long, thin, metallic, a syringe. Her breath caught. She hadn't seen it before, blurry in the original, but clearer now after digital enhancement. Emily hadn't just been surprised. She'd been injected. Serena bolted upright and pulled the original toxicology report. It had come back inconclusive. No body meant no autopsy. No organ samples. But one thing had always stood out. Traces of a compound found in sedatives had been discovered in the soil near the zip ties. Not just any sedative. Etomidate, a hospital-grade anesthetic used to induce rapid unconsciousness. Rare, fast-acting, dangerous in the wrong dose, and only accessible with level 3 clearance, like a senior nurse, or someone with access to stolen credentials, like the badge used by Avery Donnell. Serena picked up the phone. She wasn't going to sleep until she found out who signed off on that drugs inventory the week of October 13th. The answer came 2 days later. The login that approved the etomidate withdrawal? Tara Whitman's credentials. But the timestamp? 2:12 a.m., October 14th. 3 hours after she claimed Emily was already unconscious. That's when Serena realized. Tara hadn't acted alone. But she wasn't just covering for someone else either. She was being used. When Serena visited Tara at the women's facility, she didn't come as a detective. She came as someone chasing a ghost. Tara looked thinner, eyes hollow. Her prison jumpsuit hung loosely on her shoulders. For the first 5 minutes, she said nothing, just stared at the floor, arms crossed tightly across her chest. Then Serena slid the folder across the table. Avery Donnell, K. Myers Holdings, $12,000 payment. And the image of syringe. Tara didn't flinch, but her eyes changed. Serena leaned in. You didn't kill her, did you? Tara said nothing. You helped clean it up, maybe held her down, maybe moved her. But that final moment, that wasn't you. Still nothing. Serena whispered, was it Logan? Tara's jaw clenched. Why protect him? Why throw your life away for a man who abandoned you? And then, finally, Tara looked up, tears gathering in the corners of her eyes. It wasn't about him, she said. Serena blinked. Then who? Tara swallowed. Her voice cracked. I was pregnant. The prison visitation room fell silent after Tara's words. I was pregnant, she repeated, barely above a whisper. Detective Serena Jacks sat back, stunned. The walls felt closer now, the air heavier. Tara wiped her eyes with the sleeve of her jumpsuit, her voice thin, empty. 6 weeks along. I hadn't even told him yet. I didn't even mean for it to happen. Serena was trying to process the implications. You're saying Logan Myers was the father? Tara gave a faint, bitter laugh. Who else? She looked down. He told me I was just someone to pass the time while his marriage fell apart. But I thought maybe if I kept quiet about Emily, about the complaint, he'd stay. That he'd protect me. Us. But Emily found out, Serena said carefully. Tara nodded. She didn't mean to. She was trying to be kind at first. Told me he was lying to both of us. Said we should walk away. But she didn't understand. She still had her parents. friends, a career. I had nothing. Serena leaned forward. That night was Logan with you? Tara froze. Her eyes drifted toward the cameras in the corner of the ceiling. Her voice lowered to a tremble. He told me to confront her. Said I needed to scare her into silence. Said if she testified, the board would dig into everything, including him, the money, the drugs, the fake contractor program. Serena's heart raced. He used you? Tara nodded once. He gave me the badge. Told me where to find the Tomidate. I didn't think he'd actually... I didn't know what he was planning. Her hands began to tremble again. When I got there, Emily was still awake. She'd made tea. I tried to scare her. I told her not to go to the board meeting. She said she couldn't lie. Serena asked quietly, "Did you hurt her?" Tara shook her head. We argued, loud. She said she was done protecting people who abuse the system. She turned to leave, and that's when I heard the door open behind me. She looked up, eyes wide with memory, and he was there. Logan. He stepped into the kitchen like he'd done it 100 times before. Gloved, calm, controlled. Emily looked at him with pure betrayal. Tara said. She thought maybe he came to stop me, but he didn't say anything. Just pulled a syringe out of his jacket pocket. Serena could see it now, frame by frame. Logan moving in with that steady EMT-trained precision. Emily gasping. Tara frozen. The sedative pressing into Emily's neck. I didn't mean for it to happen like that. Tara said again. She collapsed too fast. Hit her head. And after, Serena asked, her voice rough, I want to call 911, but he stopped me, said there was no going back, that if she woke up, she'd talk, and if she didn't, we had a clean window to make it look like she vanished. Serena felt sick. So you helped. I didn't think I had a choice, Tara whispered. He cleaned up, told me to go home, that he'd handle it. And the next time I saw him was never. Back in Willow Creek. Serena paced a hallway outside the district attorney's office. If what Tara said was true, they had a conspiracy, a second accomplice, and maybe, just maybe, a chance to find what they'd all stopped believing existed. Emily Grant's body. But first, she needed proof. The $12,000 transfer was one thread, the contractor badge another. But Logan had disappeared over a year ago. His account had gone silent. No social media, no phone usage, no formal employment. Then a break. A burner phone tied to the contractor company's records pinged in Flagstaff, Arizona, 3 weeks ago. It had been turned on just long enough to check voicemail. The cell tower picked up a 19-second signal. Serena submitted an emergency request for surveillance footage near the tower. After 4 days of waiting, she got a single blurry image from a gas station camera. It was him, Logan Myers. Hair longer, beard grown, baseball cap low, but unmistakable. He was still alive, still running. And now, she was going after him. She flew to Arizona under an alias, checked into a low-cost motel, and rented a used sedan. With local PD backing her quietly, she pulled surveillance footage from nearby bus stations, motels, diners. Slowly, a pattern emerged. He was staying off-grid, paying in cash, changing vehicles every few weeks. But he wasn't moving randomly. He was circling a location, Coconino National Forest, an area vast enough to disappear in, and familiar to someone with firefighter wilderness training. Serena made a choice. She was going in, with a tracker team and a single U.S. Marshal. She followed what little trail they had. Receipts for propane, water jugs, instant noodles. They found a campsite deep in the woods. Abandoned, but not long gone. The fire pit still warm. Inside a zippered pouch stashed in a tree hollow, she found a weather-worn notebook. Its first line read, "It wasn't supposed to be like this." Page after page detailed Logan's version of the truth. Names, dates, procedures. He admitted to disabling the security cameras, creating fake IDs, manipulating Tara. But the final entry chilled her to the core. I didn't bury her where I said. I couldn't. I left her in the only place I knew no one would look, the place that took care of her first. Serena whispered the words out loud. The hospital. Serena stared at Logan's last words, the ink blurred slightly by damp forest air. I left her in the only place I knew no one would look, the place that took care of her first. She whispered the words again as her plane descended back into Montana, her hands tightening around the notebook like it might slip away. Not the woods, not the lake, not Bears Hollow. Serena returned with quiet urgency. No press, no warrant, not yet, just instinct. She needed time to think like Logan, the place that took care of her first. He didn't mean her home. He meant when Emily first arrived in Willow Creek. She was new, fresh out of nursing school, assigned to department before moving up to the ICU. That's when Serena remembered something from Tara's original HR file. Emily started in Wing C, the older part of the hospital, now sealed off for renovation since a pipe burst back in 2020. It had been closed for years. Nobody went in. Nobody checked it. But the badge logs. Serena called the head of maintenance and requested a full audit of that wing's access history. What she found made her chest tighten. On October 14th, 2019, at 4:21 a.m., a Level 3 contractor badge was scanned at the lockback stairwell leading to Wing C. Avery Donald's badge. He hadn't taken her out of the hospital. He never left with her. Serena, flashlight in hand, stepped into Wing C for the first time. The tiles were cracked. Ceiling panels sagged from years of water damage. The air smelled of mold and cleaning solution, faint but stale, long forgotten. She walked slowly past the empty beds, machines draped with plastic sheets and peeling blue paint. The silence buzzed in her ears. Then she reached Supply Room 3, marked with a faded sign. Her breath caught. The door was sealed with rusted wire and a broken padlock. Serena cut through it with bolt cutters. The door groaned open. Inside it was colder, smaller than she expected. Cardboard boxes stacked high, dust so thick it softened her footsteps. She scanned the corners. Nothing. Then her flashlight flicked across a utility closet door. Padlocked. Different brand. Newer. She crouched, heart pounding. With shaking fingers, she used a key from the maintenance box. The lock snapped. She opened it and froze. It wasn't a body, but it might as well have been. Wrapped tightly in contractor-grade plastic, buried beneath supply tarps and a collapsed shelving unit, was a small bundle. Inside was a faded hospital gown with bloodstains near the collar, a gold chain with a blue heart pendant, the same one from Emily's last Instagram photo, a cracked phone battery, burned at the port, a sealed Tupperware box containing a handwritten letter. Serena peeled the lid open. The letter inside was addressed to Paige. The words, scrawled in uneven blue ink, were haunting. If anything happens to me, I need you to know I was trying to protect people, not hurt them. I know what Tara's been doing, and I know Logan's involved. I've kept quiet too long, but I can't anymore. This place, this hospital, it deserves better. I just hope I make it to morning. Emily. Tears filled Serena's eyes as she closed the box. Emily hadn't just been a victim. She had left behind her truth. The evidence reopened the case. Officially, forensics confirmed the blood matched Emily's. Logan Myers was declared a federal fugitive, and Tara Whitman, in a second hearing, admitted to her role in obstructing justice and disposing of evidence. Her sentence was extended by 12 years. But Emily's body was never found. Only her courage, only the ripples she left behind. In Willow Creek, time did what time always does. It softened the headlines, the rumors, the fear. But for those who knew her, Emily never faded. The memorial garden outside Willow Creek General was expanded, a plaque added beneath the lilies read. She spoke the truth, even when it cost her everything. Serena visited once a year, quietly, without uniform. She sat on the marble bench, reading Emily's letter like scripture. And Paige, she moved 2 towns over, started a community health program in Emily's name. Every patient room had a small frame quote by the door. Be kind, be brave, be noticed. As for Logan Myers, he was last spotted crossing into Baja California under a false name, a a man with EMT training, a knack for disappearing. But wherever he went, he carried two things: the weight of a life stolen, and the words Emily wrote in her final moments. I just hope I make it to morning. One story can change everything. Don't miss the next one. Hit subscribe, turn on the bell, and stay with us, because the most haunting truths are still ahead.